Hello, everyone, and welcome to Old World. I am Scientific from the Discord channel. You probably, if you're on Discord at all, you have probably seen me rant and ramble endlessly about a great many things. In this map, we're going to be playing the game that No Legs Kitten played for the last month on the Mohawk stream, or for the last couple of times that they've played. It's a Rome game. I don't I haven't seen the map before. I checked out. I basically it was some kind of challenge map that was given to them, and they did a bunch of streams trying to. I honestly don't even know if they're finished yet or if they won. But the last I saw was things were looking a little dicey. But like I said, I haven't actually watched the stream. I've just seen the updates in the Discord, the little intro updates. I did ask about the map a couple weeks back or a month or so ago, basically what the gist was. And crappy terrain, low growth start, although it looks like we have a lot of growth. They're just gated by pastures, which is not ideal if you're Rome. I also think I might have messed up the challenge. I don't know if I was supposed to specifically pick Scipio here, but I obviously went with classic Romulus. I'm not really a Rome player, but here we are. We settle landowners in the capital. Landowners is one of my favorite families. I think it is an underrated family. And hopefully, through some of the things that I do in this game, we can demonstrate a little bit of that. We have great marble in the area, which is huge. So we're going to want to get that, and that right out of the gate is a huge benefit of this landowner's capital. We're going to be able to expand over to that marble. I do use undo a little bit sparingly, mostly for planning, trying to sort out like what I'm going to do. I very, very much try to avoid it in combat. Sometimes I'll still use it to try and math things out quickly. I tend to avoid, scout undoing, or I definitely, like, if I make a move into a combat and then I get decimated the next turn by a bunch of enemy units, I'm not typically in the habit of undoing those type of things. But in this case, you can see that I decided, instead of moving my general, I decided to do a little bit of a gambit and spring for a powerful marriage at the start of the game. Didn't really get it. I got a judge, which is nice. Always makes a great governor for the capital. But I was hoping for either a high science marriage or to grab that 6 charisma orator that we had. Amazon cult at the start is pretty great. We're doing it in that location to push borders towards the north west. As Rome, we start with hamlets, which are great. I like hamlets. Another little underrated building, I think. Or maybe not. I don't know. That's going to help us expand. So, this game, a little bit of note on it, how we're playing, how I'm doing this recording. I've already played this game. I'm actually rewatching it right now, providing a voiceover. The reason why I'm doing that for my first video is mostly because I feel like if I try to play and talk, the game is going to take forever. A downside of that is that I play very fast, so that might not be the best method for streaming, because especially with a game where there's like events and narrative bits, I I'm going to fly through so much of that. So you might miss a little bit of what's going on. I'm not really going to be pausing over things. And that's one of the things I notice in these types of this genre, especially when people stream. Sometimes when someone's talking about a point or a piece of strategy or a moment in the game, they tend to linger. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm sure that that's something that people who watch these really like. So maybe this method won't be ideal for people. But for me, I tend to ramble while 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 doing the voiceover for this. I'm just going to be rambling for 2 hours, and but what that can do, what my concern is when trying to play and talk, is that I would just linger and I would get distracted from actually playing. So for this game, I basically just recorded myself playing as I would normally play. Yeah. Full throttle, full speed, debating whether I want to grab that horse or not. So that's the first thing about this game. The other thing about this game is we're going to get to see some unique strategies that I pull off. We're about to see the first one that I like to do with landowners specifically, but I do this in general, which is settle the second city as the same family as the first city. I don't do that all the time, but it is something I will do depending on what nation or what family I play as, and landowners is a big one. The main reason why I do that, and I'll explain the difference between landowners and other families. First of all, the main reason why I do that is because the second city will get an extra citizen right out of the gate. So that's good. Also, the workers, look at that. That's a great border grab off of that hamlet. I'm going to be talking about another strategy that I do often too in a second. The workers for the first two cities will be able to, mingle and cross borders, and you won't get that one turn malice from trying to have multiple workers going across your city borders. What this allows me to do is crank out a few workers in the capital, or whatever high growth spot that I have, and kind of immediately go between borders, improving resources and stuff. Tacticians are great for clearing. Everybody knows that. The other thing, though, the reason why I like that specifically with landowners is because landowners their starting city, their city seat has 3 citizens total. And if you settle the second city with the same family, you're going to get an extra citizen. So if I were to settle statesmen in the capital, I would get 1 citizen, and champions in the second city, I would also get 1 citizen for a total of 2. But because I went double landowners, that's actually going to get me 5 citizens to start the game with. I like that. I think that's a pretty good boost. So this allows me to spam a bunch of workers, improve a bunch of rural tiles, and immediately start tossing specialists into them at a much, much quicker pace than I could with any other family. And what that translates to is quicker science, really. Urban specialists are better for science, but I have this kind of mindset where if I can get 2 rurals out in the time it would take me to get 1 urban, that's more or less the same. Maybe not long term, maybe not by turn 60 or whatever. Maybe by then I could have 4 urbans or 5 urbans to the however many rurals I might have, and the science is going to be better. But my main consideration is that the quicker I can get things online, the better. So in many cases, I would rather have 2 rural specialists, on a quarry or a couple mines or improved resources, than waiting to put those specialists in an urban somewhere. Because that's the other thing. Waiting, I'm not a big fan of waiting for things in the game. I think the quicker you do things, the better. The other thing we're going to be noticing here is I've expanded my capital to the second city site. That wasn't really a great spot in general. It was pretty cramped. So rather than place a city there, I used my shrine from an event, the hamlet, which was a good border grab, and then I purchased my way. I believe it was only 1 purchase too, to get that city site. This is another thing that I do very often. I don't even just do it with landowners, but landowners is obviously the easiest one to do it with. But if I find myself in a tight or cramped position, I have no issue with absorbing a neighboring city site. So the benefits of that is that city site is immediately an extra 50 gold income, which is just wonderful. I love gold. I'm a big fan of gold. Anytime I can use gold to purchase other stuff is great. So here's a bit of bad luck. So I spent 100 civics to purchase to get married, and I got a judge governor. And then I put the judge governor in the city for another 100 civics, thinking I was being clever. And then my judge governor just died. So, you're not always lucky. That's not ideal. This is looking like a pretty isolated start. We have a full landscape, full view of the landscape that we're working with. We only have this one way out of the peninsula, counting Thrace right now. Honestly, this is great for me. This is a great position for me to be in terms of map placement, because I actually love playing tall in this game. Playing a tall empire is incredibly powerful and wildly efficient. It takes a bit of patience and elbow grease, but most importantly, you just need to be protected. And raids are always a thing, and especially coastal raids can be very annoying. But mostly, as long as you're safe from the AI nations, I think tall is a very, very viable strategy. Look at that. 2 turns on my stonecutter right out of the gate. So that'll be online very quick. That's going to expand that border, and then I'll probably purchase again to the next quarry. Healing our warrior, because had to tuck tail and run from this camp. Harvesting is very strong on higher levels. Founding our paganism. We're going to lean very hard into Roman paganism to keep our opinion up. Access to fish. Both of our scholars give us an extra order. That's solid. Yeah, so I think the benefits of going tall here are going to pay off. You get a lot of output from a single strong city. You get the ability, as long as you can control land, territory, right, and resources, your income with just three cities, your resource income with just three cities can be just as high as a empire that has, a dozen cities, to be honest, because what you're considering is how quickly are you getting improvements online? How many mines do you have? How many quarries do you have? So on and so forth. And also, how much land do you have? So one of the reasons why expanding quickly can be important is because it gives you access to more tiles, which means more improvements, which means more income. But that's another one of the kind of hacks that you can sort of get away with a landowner start or landowners in the empire in general, is that you with a good area, you can get a sizable piece of territory with not a lot of land, or not a lot of cities rather. Looking pretty boxed in up here. Again, that if you're expanding a lot, that could be an issue. Gonna go to war here. Try to clear the camp. This is a pretty good looking site. It would be excellent to toss champions up here to really solidify the defenses. Gonna force march this guy down here to prevent the barbarian camp from coming back. And we're gonna go for another quarry. And the specialists, that's just 3 turns on a quarry. I think normally it's 5 or 6, depending on what family I think. That's 5 or 6. Yeah, so normally I might look at the situation and feel pretty trapped, but I'm very comfortable playing small, tight, with just a couple of cities. So, one thing, it's going to be 3 turns to complete that marble quarry. The inquiry will also be done in 3 turns. So what that means is my specialist should probably be done in 1 or 2 turns, which means within 5 turns from having no improvement, I'm going to have a marble quarry online. Full specialist. I love this family. And immediately after I get aristocracy, the game plan is to shift. Okay. What's happening here? All right. Yep. My Romulus is dead, which is not really where I want this warrior to be, even though there aren't any melee guys, but in reality, I should back off here. But the great news is I have a builder. It's turn 22, and my son is a builder. So that's going to have huge, huge implications on the rest of the game. A builder opener is just incredibly strong. Really, really, really strong. It's going to help me get set up. After aristocracy, I'm going to beeline as quickly as I can to get husbandry. Should be right away with the way the deck's set up. And between two marble specialist quarries, all of those pastures should be done in swift time, which is going to transform this upstart desert city into a high growth capital. Oh, a bunch of food. That's great. That's lucky. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to tuck my tail and run from this situation. I'm going to have to heal up and actually build a second warrior at last. A little bit delayed with the military here. It's risky even when you are isolated because, as we know, we actually have a raid incoming. I just haven't figured out where it's coming from yet. So we need to heal up. We need to build more. I get that stone boost. Also, check that out. The miner would have been done in just one turn. So another way to kind of look at it, as long as you have the citizens, 2 quick miners will put you in parity with one of the military nations. And I know it's hard to think that way because you might think, well, I would spend 2 citizens on that. And that's true. But for me, it's a matter of speed and how quickly these things are going on. Like if I have 2 miners done in 2 turns, where it takes champions something like 5 turns just to do 1 miner or 1 officer. Well, that's 5 turns they're not building warriors. I guess it's pretty moot in this case because I'm not building warriors either. That's okay. Debating if I want the disciple, but no, we're going. Anytime I get an event that gives civics, civics is the obvious choice for me. Pretty much 95% of the time. And then we got an extra science boost in the capital. That's lovely. Also, again, we're leaning heavily into Roman paganism. That's going to be our opinion booster for the game. Most of it, anyway. Husbandry in 8 turns. That's looking good. I'm actually surprised it's turn 26. There's something I normally do when I start the game. It's one of the first things I check when I load into the game, turn 1. If I haven't checked it by turn 1, I've checked it. I check it within the first 10 or so turns. So we still haven't done it yet, and I'll point it out once it finally happens. But it's a little amusing. Yeah, we need to expand this capital now. Keep this pushing out. Finally getting our settler out. Going to move up here. We're going to buy, which will expand our territory further. And then this guy is going to come over here, and and there you go. One of the great things is now I pretty much have this entire peninsula to work with for Rome, courtesy of my 3rd favorite family. I don't know. I don't really rank them. I'm just being cheeky. That was a moment where I was debating if I wanted to buy across that tile, that spreadsheet tile, swap tiles between those two cities. That is another tactic I do very often, because if I did that, I would be able to continue to purchase up the coast to the groves and horses with my capital. And this, oh boy, surprise everyone. This is a fun moment. This is a moment where I finally figured out where the raid was coming from. I am just starting to work on my settler, and I had a worker holding that city site, and I'm so focused on what I'm doing builder wise, which is all going great, that I completely ignored the fact that raiders were coming for my worker. So, that's part of the fun of playing the game. Sometimes you think everything's going to go fine, and then sure enough, the game surprises you and says, no, we're not going to make it that easy. And I have another raid coming. So we're on turn 28 and only one warrior, which is not ideal. But we have a very nice capital, and that's something we want. That's always a good sign. I decided to stick with the settler for now, just to get it out of the way. I took a lot of damage from that attack. I'm not feeling great about that. We're getting a farm situation set up. The other great thing about landowners, but obviously it's not that big of a deal right now, because you can see my income is 400 gold. Oh, here's a tiny bit of an undo where I realize, I don't have the orders to move and then harvest and then move back, so I opt instead to assign that guy. So sometimes I will undo, but I try to avoid using it in a way where it's like giving me too much of an advantage. Like, so a great example of that is losing that camp down south, because remember I also lost a worker. If I really cared enough, I could just undo to the point where I could move the worker off the site at least and get it back. But we're not going to play it that way. That scout kind of gets locked in place because this raiding situation is really not the best. Another warrior. And no orders. I think I get stuck with no orders for quite a bit here. Excuse me. My income's pretty great. 2,000 with 400 per turn. That's just so solid. And we did that to establish the connection. So now my capital and my second city are connected, which is good for growth and good for discontent, easing that up a little bit, which is especially valuable when you're doing the same two families, or the same family in both cities, because if you skip your family seats, it's an extra 4 discontent in your cities. Even when I settle the next family, I'll still be getting 2 discontent in all of my cities until I settle my third family. So I'm going to be trapped on this island here, settling a family in this site, and I'm still going to be stuck with an extra 2 discontent, which is not ideal. So every little bit to ease it up is always helpful. Pasture time. This is great. Yep. And we got the fish online now. 4 citizens in the capital. Also 4 discontent in the capital. 4 in the second city as well. That's very likely a direct result of the same city site, same family settling. We're just going to go hard on all these pastures and get us another warrior, I believe. Oh, you know what? Yeah, no, we go with warrior. I love a 3-turn festival, though. Pasture. We're going hard into Roman paganism because Greece seems very, very, very far away. So they do not seem like anyone I'm going to need to worry about in this game. That's one of the things I think about when it comes to huge maps. Or honestly, any map in general. I feel like Old World is a game where you go to war with 1 or 2 of your neighbors, and that's what wins you the game. We're doing another builder here because, well, honestly, it's because builders are broken. So it's hard to say no to a builder when they pop up. Another raid has showed up in the southern spot. So by not getting the city set up, I've really lost some momentum here, which is not ideal. The schemer is another good archetype. One of my favorites. I didn't really understand how powerful it was to purchase orders, but man, is that another insane ability. That's kind of one of the things I like about this game. All the different archetypes are kind of crazy if you use them right. I still think Builder's probably the strongest one in the game. But I'm sure that's debatable. Depends on what you're doing, what you're going for. Now is when I recognize something. Oh, hey, the Colossus is in the game. This is the thing that I've mentioned a couple of times already. I normally do this on turn 1. I settle my city, and either on the first turn or within 10 turns does it occur to me, I'm checking what wonders are in this game, and if the Colosseum is in this game, I'm going to go for the Colosseum. So that is great. Also, the Mausoleum is in this game. If you're gonna push for the Mausoleum, for the Colosseum, and the Mausoleum is in the game, that's gonna make it so much easier to do. However, we also have the Great Lighthouse and the Royal Library. 2 other strong wonders. I'm debating if I want to go for one right now. Mostly because now that I know that the Colosseum is in the game, my big concern is culture. I need to get my culture ramping up quickly. I also need to deal with these stupid barbarians. Huge nuisance. Barracks. That's always important. I'm looking at where I'm at with my laws. I'm debating whether I want to actually go for centralization right now. And you notice I switched to drama. The reason why I did that is because I'm still in this mode of thinking I want to go for the Colosseum. The Heliopolis is also in the game. I don't think I end up leveraging it that much. But right now I'm thinking we got the Colosseum, we got the Heliopolis, the Hagia Sophia is also pretty strong, as well as the Via Vecta Souk, which is powerful because in this game you have estates enabled. So that'll let you really distribute opulence points throughout your empire. I opt not to get a wonder. You know, watching this makes me worried that it is going to be a little hard for you guys to keep track of what's going on. But not too much I can do about that now. 3 turns on each of my ranchers. That's pretty great. Another nod to landowners there. Turn 40, 2 cities. Really slow start. But that's okay. We haven't met anyone yet, which is great news for me and how I play. Because again, this means that I'm safe. The only 2 things I need to have a successful game is time and safety, and we have another tribal raid from the Thracians. Chariot is huge. I get super excited about this. I send him right down here. It's go time. It's go time with this chariot. I'm about to fail 2 ambitions, and look at that. That technology, I got 5 out of 6 technologies. That's so annoying. So this is going to be minus 10 legitimacy. Really, really slow start. Gonna go for that acolyte for the science. But you'll see my family opinion so far is fine. You know, pretty sure the head of the opinion, this is where I realize there's a problem. We have another raid. I'm even right now worried that my chariot is going to die. This is another good example of, you know, sometimes I look at a situation like this and I'm like, boy, I want to undo that right away. I want to take back that move so I don't get my chariot killed. But no, we're going to stick with it. And we're going to cross our fingers. Yeah. And that chariot has to get out. My warriors need to get out. And I'm just running out of orders to do anything because it's 43. Turn 43. And I have 10 legitimacy, guys. Not looking great. Not looking great. Oh boy. See, everybody's hurt. This is not good. But you know what? Kind of like what I was saying, that the 2 most powerful weapons a player can have in the game is time and safety. As long as you have time to work on things, as long as you're safe to work on things, you can get a lot done. But there's a third aspect of that, right? And I think that's perseverance. Old World is a game that's very good at throwing the player curveballs. So right now we are in a really crappy spot. Turn 45. I have 30 legitimacy, 2 cities, only 4 military units. Every single one of them are nearly half health or lower. And I'm being raided by a bunch of stuff. So all signs right now would say, thanks for playing. Please try again. But what's fun is just sticking with it, trying to make it work. So we're going to do that. We're going to stick with it and try and make it work. Family opinion is still pretty decent. Now we're going to try and see if we can get a route happening. Not ideal, because I really wanted to kill 2 of them. That's the best we can do. Really tricky spot, but my capital is coming along nicely. Okay. Deciding if I want to imprison my heir, checking who's next in line. Another builder, and I have a commander. Heck yes, we're imprisoning that commander. Get out of here. Thank you for playing. Now we have 2 builders, which is great. Great news. We're prioritizing our theater because once you get drama, pretty much on the quest to getting to legendary, you want to get the Odeon, the theater, and the amphitheater out as quickly as possible. So pretty much as soon as you culture level up. With Greece, for example, you can do that because you start with drama. With other nations, you can't really do that. You'll notice I chose to spam festivals here. Part of why I'm doing that is to increase culture, but also because I have no citizens at the moment. I have no citizens. I'm increasing culture, and while Festival 2 is cheaper than Festival 3, and my civics output is still pretty high, I kind of like to try and crank out a bunch of festivals if I got nothing else going on. Now, you might think I could use more warriors, but of course you'd be wrong. Naturally, the correct answer in this moment is to build settlers in my 2 cities while I'm getting absolutely harassed by these raids. I've never claimed to be a player who plays optimally. I am simply a player who plays. That was a very lucky hit. That killed that guy in 1 hit. We have an ambition to build 4 granaries. And our legitimacy is still abysmal because we failed 2 ambitions. So, 2 happiness levels. Look at that. for only 440 gold. We make more than that in income. That's not even a full turn's worth of income. That minor city putting in work. Also, my 5 discipline is putting in more work. But now we've noticed a major problem. Greece has built the mausoleum, which will make the journey to the Colosseum that much more difficult to pull off. This is a pretty big setback for us. Wonder situation. How am I going to get to legendary quickly? I'm about to be strong, and that's kind of what I'm debating. I'm debating what wonder do I want to build first? Am I building a developed one, or am I waiting for a strong one? I am just getting absolutely hammered by these guys. Now, that's an interesting play there. I could have gone for my master poet, but I went for the last rancher. And I view that as important because that will give me all of my rural improvements in my capital with a specialist. And apart from the 2 marble quarries, they're all growth resources. I have 2 fish. I believe one of them is. I believe they're both fish. Oh no, one of them's pearls. So I have a fish, a pearl, and 4. A crit. That's so great. Wow. Okay, so the tide is turning down here. 4 pastures and fish, all with specialists. So that's going to be great. And we're going to be strong in the capital soon. Not the insane, crazy pace of getting legendary inside of 60 turns. We're only hitting strong. But we're still going to try and see if we can't nab that Colosseum and make a big play off of it. And this is where I realize I can do double duty with that lighthouse. And the lighthouse is going to boost, even though it's only 2 nets, it's still going to boost my nets. There it is. I put council in the capital, and there's a reason I do that. It's in the moment of building the lighthouse that I realize, since I'm a builder, it hadn't yet occurred to me. I just got 4 citizens in the capital. That's great. And now I switch to my master. And that is obviously for the civics. And we have a judge. So I'm mulling it. Mulling it. Here we go with workers. A little all over the place over there. My thinking is I'm a builder. My workers are coming out in 1 turn because of all of my growth. I just got a bunch of citizens. So what I can do is increase my ability to crank out wonders by stacking workers. I hate the position I'm in right now. Here we go, more civics, like I said. Always picking civics options. Very, very, very hard to say no to civics. Thankfully, that chariot is not dead. Click. And we route for the finish. I should have went for the legitimacy there. But intolerance, man, like I said, it's the civics. Anything that all paths lead to civics in my games. I'm a huge, huge fan of civics. And this is great because now we have 2 more quarries. Marble quarries coming online. We're going to do patrons. No, we're not. We're going to do statesmen. And we're going to do that because that's going to give us our extra set of 400 civics. And now, oh, that's me checking to see. They're the use of undo for you. Sometimes I forget if you can build wonders out in the open coast. And surprise, surprise, our second wonder is the Chthon. Mostly because I hate building ships. We go straight into the amphitheater. I hate building ships, so the Chthon will help me avoid building ships. Now we're going to take a look at kind of like where we're headed in the tech tree. I got forestry coming online, which will be helpful. Got some forest by a river down here. My statesman family is not pleased with me right out of the gate. That's a little annoying. Should have stuck with the landowners. And honestly, I actually feel that way. But that 400 civics is really, really hard to pass up. And this is where I get a very, very fun idea. Let's see if I go for it. Is this it? Oh, no, we do the Apadana. So we have 3 wonders under construction right now. That's the glory of just 2 marble. Just 2 marble at the start of the game. This is a decision. I go for a land consolidation because I got those groves up there. But I'm debating. Oh, I think do I swap here? We'll see where we go. Classic, up to hydraulics. I change. I believe I change here. What we're thinking, here it is, yeah. I get the very fun, clever idea to also construct the Royal Library. So we now have 4 wonders under construction. This is huge. And again, our massive gold income has enabled us to do this too. So we have several hundred gold, looks like 600 gold, 400 gold coming in the capital. and plenty of stone coming online. And Statesman has enabled us to build as many as 4 wonders simultaneously under construction in the capital right now. I am going to switch to portcullis prioritization though. And the reason why I'm thinking about this, I guess I don't do it right now. But I'll give you a bit of a spoiler. Part of the strength of the Royal Library actually synergizes with portcullis, especially on a map like the one that we are playing. Because what a map like this allows you to do with the Great Library is it allows you to discover your opponents, the other players, the other nations on the map through the ocean. So you can send out a boat and you can find where they are and make contact. And then once you set up your spy master, right, you can infiltrate their territory to reveal the whole map where they are. While you're setting that up, you make peace with that nation. And then what that means is now, ideally, hopefully, every single one of their cities, since we're all surrounded this massive ocean, right, is going to be connected to your capital. So, on a map such as this, or, an islands map, bay is probably another decent one. Anything with a lot of ocean where you know that a lot of the other players on the map are going to be surrounding that ocean. And not even just players, but their capital, the river that their capital is going to be on is surrounding the ocean, because what that means is all the roads in the nation are going to go to the capital. The capital is going to flow into the sea, which means everybody's going to connect to you. And that has the potential to make the Royal Library a massively powerful wonder. I think we go with rhetoric because it's just really tricky not to beeline to sovereignty. The 800 bonus civics card is another super powerful one. We're getting valiant. All these raids are finally giving us legitimacy. This is huge. Lighthouse is done. Often overlooked benefit of Lighthouse is it cuts your Hamlet development time in half, which is great because I actually love Hamlets. I think they're pretty useful. Mostly because I just love gold. Being able to spend gold on anything you need in the game, for the most part, is just so solid. Yeah, so there's another example of, the usage of undo. I'm not really sure what I want to do with worker. I don't know if I want more metal or if I want to get that quarry or if I want to build something. So, I moved to the hill and I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. It's things like that just, I've played a few games without undo. I've actually played a couple network multiplayer games and have won those games. So it's definitely not the end of the world to play without undo. But it's easier. It makes the game easier, especially which when it comes to like things like mistakes or just general planning. I definitely think the undo button is single-handedly the greatest achievement in strategy gaming. The idea that you can make a move and be like, oh, you know what, I don't want to do that, and to just take it back is just so great. This is my first ship, and I think I even undo this because I realize my first thought process is, oh, I'm gonna go explore the open ocean, but then I realize if I don't undo it, I think I change my mind on the next turn. I realize I have a raider problem down south. Yeah. I have a raider problem down south. And I can use the boat. Architecture, that's fun. Baths. Baths are one of my favorite improvements. The doctor is one of my favorite specialists. And the reason for that is individually as a specialist, the doctor gives the most science in the entire game. And that does include philosopher specialists. Now, obviously, philosophers come with a library, so a library gives you more science than a bath. But if you have a library, or the university, whatever, if you have the library line and the bath line, then between the two specialists of your choice, the doctor is going to give you more science, and then it gives you more growth, which is always amazing. Gets you more specialists, which is high growth capitals, super cities are like the bread and butter of how I play games, at least in single player. Multiplayer, I think I play a little bit differently, and I haven't quite wrapped my head around. Now we have the Fountainhead, 60 cognomen. Finally, our legitimacy is in a halfway decent spot for turn 60. Three wonders done in the capital. One more coming down the pipeline. Apadana. And yeah, now we've decided that this boat is going to come mess with these barbarians. We do decide that, right? Oh, I get wishy-washy. Because I really want to make contact with somebody to make that library worth it. We still have the ambition for granaries, so it's granary time. It's definitely granary time. In that case, I stick with the conversion to paganism despite intolerance, because my civics income is pretty great. I'm working on a forum in the capital. I love forums. That's another one I like, because basically, as you spam forums, you're always refunded all of the civics that you spend on it except 20, right? So what that means is, technically speaking, even though the build time might be different, every level of forum only costs 20 civics. And I think that's awesome. And we're definitely doing a high civics goal here. Stacking workers to crank everything out in one turn as best we can. got our marble quarries coming online. Another commander specialist, schemer. So schemer, obviously. Autonomous rule. Do we go for it? Yes, we do. I don't mind autonomous rule, mostly because there are benefits to it. You get an extra science and gold. You get extra science in the city. You get extra gold in the city. And normally there's events that will give you a lump sum of civics. So worth noting, I have 3 cities now in this game. And one of them, I believe I selected it just now. If I didn't, then one comes up later on. But 3 of them, I have 3 cities and one of them is autonomous. Pretty sure. Elder Poet time. We got a judge, so we rushed that with gold. We have ample gold to do that in this game. And our boat is going to defend our coast. Our fledgling little empire. We have not made... we just made contact with Assyria. Oh, yes, and this is when we realize something about Assyria is going to change soon. Love getting new courtiers. Ooh. Grand Vizier. So, in most situations, I consider Grand Viziers very strong. They're just insanely strong. However, they are better when you have larger empires, right? So we're playing tall in this game, which means it's very important. I'm pretty sure I already gave up one of my cities to autonomy. It's very important that I maintain control over my capital. We're playing a tall build. We have just a few cities. I'm wonder spamming. I want to make sure that everything that gets built in my capital is by my design. So that's a no to the Grand Vizier in this game. Oftentimes, I feel like the Grand Vizier is a no-brainer, but normally it would require me to have a stronger start, especially having a military. Like if I had 20 units right now on turn 60 and 8 cities, then that would have been a no-brainer. I'd say I would pick the Vizier 90% of the time. But considering I have a very small army and only 3 cities, nope. We're going to build this Shrine of Saul here, and mostly because it's one of the only locations we're going to have with any lumber. See, we're going to do that more efficiently. We're going to build the shrine, and then we're going to build the lumber mill. Yeah, and also I just need to spread paganism to the statesman family, because I don't like that they're unhappy. We're going to keep cranking out these forums all the way up to the max level. Because remember, again, with their global refund at the end of this, it's kind of like I'm running... well, no, I guess it's not really like running council. But mostly at the end of 3 turns, this has only cost me 20 civics. And I actually think Forum 4, the final level, once I hit Legendary, is pretty decently strong. It gives you 8 civics, which is double the amount of 3, I believe. I believe 3 is 4 civics, but it might be 6. I'm not sure. I think it's 4. You'll notice I put a granary on top of that grove over there. Mostly I'm just building that granary for the ambition. I will bulldoze it once my land consolidation comes online. I want to crank out the rest of these farms down here. Our food situation is just amazingly strong, but it can get surprising very quick. I build an estate in the capital. I am a little bummed out by this decision, and mostly because I'm bummed out that I didn't do it sooner. And I think I was realizing that in that moment. With the way this game is going to go, this is where I realized that Assyria has blocked me in. So this is a 3-city game. Win or lose. But yeah, I wish I built the estate sooner, because that would if I could have built that, a dozen turns ago or more, and that would have just given me so much more culture. I don't think I was ready to fully commit to the fact that this capital is going to just be a monstrous thing. I don't even have a word for it. Also, the Colosseum, man. It's if you can get to it, it's gonna really solve everything. I think I forgot something. I don't know if we missed this moment already, but considering I don't think we saw the me move to the map, move the map over to Greece. I don't think I've built the mausoleum yet. We'll see if that comes up. I'm just going crazy with these farms. That was 4.4 orders per turn tribute from the Vandals. That's huge luck. This is amazing too. Get 1,000 food. We're making plenty of food per turn. So that should be done. It might have been easier to just bang out the acolytes in hindsight. However, I think what I wanted was more passive. I love the passive ambitions. I'm in a pause here because I'm talking to my partner. They just got home from work. But anyway, yeah, I prefer the passive ambitions, just kind of so I know that they're going to happen on their own. With the acolytes, which, not that getting acolytes would be bad, but I would have to build the acolytes when I might be prioritizing other things with my build queues. I don't think I get elder acolytes enough in games. They're probably worth it because they give you a whole order. But it's not something I usually do. How's this for fun, huh? It's turn 70 something, and I still have not adopted a single law. What game am I playing? This is not how things are normally supposed to go. But finally, turn 70 something, and we have a law. We are a society of laws at last. Indeed, we are fully centralized on our desert isolated plateau. Also turned 70, and I'm nowhere near scholarship, which is another thing that I want to say is uncharacteristic, but to be honest, since the tech redesign, the tech rebalance over the summer, I have not been leaning as heavily into scholarship anymore, which I think is a good thing, right? That was part of the point of that change. And so I feel like it's viable to decide that, hey, you know what, I want to go to Baths and I want to go to Portcullis. And it's not necessarily the end of the world that you didn't, beeline to scholarship as quickly as possible. So that's a really, really good change. I'm a huge, huge fan of it. Um, I was a little overzealous. I kind of figured, kind of became under the assumption that the scholarship beeline kind of might be dead. And I think in some ways for me it kind of is because I don't do it all the time anymore. But the important thing isn't that it's dead. The important thing is that it's just no longer the most and only viable, thing that you should do at all times. So that's good. We have another ship. We're going to do amphibious here. Ooh, and we get marines as well. This is, oh man, what a fantastic promotion line. Marines, amphibious and marines makes it so you can just decimate stuff on land. Those promotions will actually come in handy a little bit later. We're not out of the woods yet, though, because we're pretty trapped. Our conflict, we now know our main conflict here is going to be with Assyria. They blocked us off our only land route out of this peninsula. And as we can see up in the left hand of the screen, they're expanding down the map. We have Egypt to the southwest, and everyone else, as far as we know, probably on the other side of the map. This is a huge map, I believe. I kind of forget the settings. I did this to secure peace. You can get a tribal invasion. In reality, I probably should have went that route for the 10 legitimacy, but I didn't. Slums are fun. They're fun if you can get all of your hamlets out before the slum evolves. It effectively gets you an extra level of culture levels worth of a hamlet. Now I'm going to be making our effort. Yep. Okay. So I just tried to do a influence mission. Oh, no, I'm going to stick with it. And this guy's going to try and find Egypt. Man, I really love this game. We have our elder poet coming out in the capital. Pay to keep the peace. Love more culture. Culture options are another one that I will take very often from events. Again, for the obvious, I love getting to legendary as quickly as possible. That's where all the good stuff is. Just so worth it. We have 6 citizens in the capital. And remember, most of our resources are already improved with specialists. The court here, which is good. Our builder has been living for quite some time, which is really amazing. Really looking for the Egyptians. And here they are. Fantastic. And we're doing this. We're taking sovereignty. That's good. We're doing this because now is the moment where we are thinking to ourselves, we're going to get our portcullis online. So we have to make peace with these 2 nations and reveal their territory. That'll give us some science. Spamming these farms is going to increase us our income. Going to get some extra wood up here. Basically, I'm kind of aiming, right? What I'm doing here in the capital, and another reason why I have all these workers, is I'm aiming to have the capital fully developed. So by the time I'm legendary and I've cranked out, we're going to do a festival spam there. So that's another thing about festival spams that changes up over time. Now that I have at least one elder poet, but once you have elder poets, one thing that festival spam, it will do 2 things. A, it will increase your citizen count, which will further increase your civics count. So we love that. And B, it's going to drop my discontent. I'm strong. So Festival 3, if I recall, is 60 growth and 60 happiness in the city. I believe number 4 is 80. So it goes 20, 40, 60, 80. Yeah, so that's 60 growth and 60 happiness in the capital. You notice that even though I settled 2 landowner cities at the start of the game, I only have 2 discontent in my capital. 5 in the other one, but whatever, that's fine. And again, I just hopped my worker from Barium over to the capital, and I'm not going to take any worker turn loss because my top 2 cities can all be worked by the same staff, crew, people, whatever. I think I probably should have beeline scholarship in hindsight, but I didn't, and that's okay. We'll see how it plays out. Okay, now I've discovered another raider. I've discovered a source of raiders, right? So with that ship, I'll be able to cut them off. Get that garrison out. 1 turn on sovereignty, turn 75. Turn 75 sovereignty, everybody. We're doing fine. Happy families. Look, landowners is pleased. Assyria is just owning everything. Things are starting to slow down, though. I'm starting to be a little bit more deliberate with what I'm doing. Oh, yeah, see? A little bit of a scout undo there. I decided not to go back up north. Mostly, that's the other thing. Sometimes I don't even do that, especially even in the case of the scout like that. It wasn't for anything like vision. It was realizing I wanted to do something else with the orders. That's another reason why I will undo. Sometimes I'll move something and they'll be like, oh, crap, I wanted to go on that mission. Portcullis, here we go. Here we go. Me realizing that I have the promotion that gives me 20% attack on ocean. And I'm actually going to go for that rune. Bath time. Time to take a bath, everybody. The citizens of Rome shall know cleanliness. 144 gold per turn in exchange for 1.2 orders. I don't know that it's worth it, but I also wanted the 40 opinions, so we're going for it. Food ambition is done. 112 legitimacy, not the worst, not great, not terrible. Still cranking out those festivals in the cap. There's another reason why I'm doing that. I'm kind of like in a limbo, right? I'm waiting for legendary. Stonecutter. That's great. An extra stonecutter. Yeah, there we go. Stonecutter. Again, almost fully filled up in our capital in terms of improvements. I'm not really someone who uses map tax. I kind of just either go with everything on the fly or I plan everything out in my mind. So, for example, exactly where I put my garrison, you can see you have that 7-tile hexagonal formation where you can do that silly little perfect garrison format thing. You know, I knew that I was going to do that from turn 1, so that's why that area is blank. Those are all the tiles I need. I don't need to mark them. It's just to be clear, that is an amazing feature of this game. I love the ability to plan stuff, and sometimes I do use the map tax, but not all that often. I have found I'm playing a game right now that's a multiplayer one online, free for all. It's like 5 or 6 players. We've been playing since August, so in that game I've actually been utilizing the pins because sometimes you just forget. Sometimes it'll be like a few days before you even get your turn. It's not really my preferred play style, mostly because usually when I sit down to play a game of Old World, I have finished it in 1 or 2 sittings. I play very fast, which I mean, hopefully that's not too jarring. But like I said, it will slow down sometimes. So this is a shitty situation. Egypt wants me to declare war on the Vandals. But if I declare war on the Vandals, I lose 4.4 orders per turn. So I'm not going to declare war on the Vandals, which will make Egypt disappointed with me when I'm hunting for a peace treaty from them. So that's a bit of a setback, but that's okay. Our peaceful little coastline. I do not want a foreign religion taking root in my city. I'm mulling it. Do I go for it? Nice. Free military drill. Turn 79. Barracks on turn 79, guys. Here it comes. I think I would have might have gone for mannequinism. But look, I'm immediately going for it. Time to build barracks. And this is what I was talking about. So they're ready. It's ready to go into that formation. We're so close to legendary. So we did miss it. I did miss calling it out, but Greece beat us to the mausoleum. That, I have to say, is a terrible outcome when you're playing this game. Greece specifically. Greece is not a nation that you want on a map, especially a map like this that is really big. It's far apart. I don't really have any concept of how much territory that they have. I cannot see their score. So knowing that they are somewhere off in the distance with the mausoleum was a devastating development, you know. A master doctor on the bath. That's good. That's great. Because they could just balloon in points, and if there's nothing I can do about it, then there's nothing I can do about it. So in any game that I play, if Greece beats me to the mausoleum, or even if I'm not even going for it, if I find out that Greece gets the mausoleum, that makes me pay attention real quick. I immediately, and I would advise anybody who plays the game to think of it that way. If Greece gets the mausoleum, you need to figure out where they are, what their strength is, what their position is, and are you going to conquer everyone who isn't Greece in the time before they win, or are you going to start stealing points from Greece, because they can really get carried away. So we'll see what develops on that side of the world, but we're going to be getting our legendary city in 2 turns. $10 iron for 1 order. I'm sorry, 10 wood for 1 order. Absolutely. Yes, please. Thank you. And here we go. We're going to go for the peace treaty. Now, I already tried to get a peace with the Assyrians, and they told me no. They were disinterested. So that was annoying. Oh, this is so fun. We discover the Assyrians. Maybe it doesn't happen just yet. Sorry, we discovered the Scythians. We already discovered the Assyrians. Those are the Scythians. There you go. Legendary. Oh, we don't have the civics. Messed that up. But that's okay. We're going to run council. Actually, I don't think we do. I think we do another festival. We do. We do another. I want an even 10 citizens. You see, it's turn 80 or 81. I have 6 military units, legendary city, bunch of wonders, and naturally, what I need more than anything right now is Festival 4. Ridiculous. Spamming set festivals for like the last 12 turns. But, and the Lorien Mine. I actually love this thing, but it is a little mediocre. And sure, not the best event you want to see when you just got legendary, but there it is. You can always use more iron. Sadly, no real great place to put it. More courtiers. Lorien Mine. One more turn. Still have a builder, by the way. This guy is still kicking. So this is immensely lucky. Hey, look, Civics boost on turn 82. It's just a slower game, you know? And there it is. Look at this, 22 training. 22. And that, my friends, is why I've been spamming Festival. Because the training on the Colosseum is based off of population. So even in spite of the estate that I placed in that city, which is why I wish I just did it right away. And honestly, if the Colosseum is on the map and you're going to put it in your capital, just put an estate in your city. At least if it's a high growth capital. Because, yeah, you will take a training hit for the first half of the game, but that Colosseum is going to come online and it is going to blow the deficit out of the water. I'm getting -6 training from the estate due to the friendly landowner's family. My Colosseum is bringing in 22 training. Glorious. The glory of Rome indeed. Oh man, there are lots of units over there. It's time to unite my coastline. This is going to get a little expensive. I'm not 100% sure how I actually feel about this, but we'll see where it goes. Nice. Nay, we got our peace with Assyria. So this is going to be our first check. We're going to look up, and that's when I realized with that boat, oh no, I forgot to clear the clouds. 10 science. But it gets even worse. I'm pretty sure I don't even go back. Oh wait, yeah, no. Ooh, check this out. This is so awful. I undo. You silly goose. I undo that one move. And I go over here instead. That's going to come back to bite me later. Keep our development going. And purchase. Purchase. Oh, nope. Oh, yeah, you can't do that. I realized that you can't do that. So, yep, go back, do that. Everybody's happy, so that's good. Now it's governor time. 10 citizens. Elder Doctor is available. So the Elder Doctor gives you 2 science per culture level. So that is 2, 4, 6, 8. Right? For... I wish I waited, by the way, before I built the Colosseum to do that. Get that engineering, but whatever. Needed to secure it. So it's 8 science as a bonus for the Elder Doctor when you're legendary. Plus the 4 science for the fact that it's an Elder. So Elder Doctors give you 12 science, which is pretty incredible. I get how much Philosopher gives you. I think it's something like 9 or 7 or something, or 8. You think I'd know this off the top of my head? So we'll have a swordsman on turn 85. Still trying to figure out. We're going to go with the orator here. Massive civics output. Checking out if I need that delver. Nope, orator it is. Here we go. And yep, get that warm bath out. So this is playing tall for the most part. There are other ways to do it. If I had settled champions, for example, one thing I'll do with Rome, well, not with Rome because I don't really play Rome, but with Greece is I'll put champions as my second or third city. And from champions, I'm just spamming units all game. And I do that even if I'm in a map where I'm not isolated. You can get away with playing tall that way because you can build up your military using a champion seat, especially if you have access to iron. Colosseum, here we go. So you can play tall with more of a military, but if you have an isolated start, right? This is one of the reasons why I prefer seaside, because you get a little bit more punished when you try to do something like this. If you're surrounded by everything, I'm using diplomacy to protect myself, but also I feel like, Egypt, for example, Egypt couldn't go to war with me right now, even if they wanted to. And if they did show up with boats, I don't know. I'd probably fall apart, but no, I have a swordsman now, so we'll see how it goes. Oh, fuck. We'll be getting to the end of the first video of this game. Still only 2 cities. Not 2 cities, but 2 families. There's iron in this spot that the Thracians are sitting on. So that is going to be a good spot to toss this extra settler and make a trader's seat. No, traders, what am I talking about? A champion seat. Trying to figure out what to do, build more farms, because of course. For the granary. That's an interesting move. I think I do that for the adjacency boosts. So yeah, playing tall is a very kind of deliberate, intentional, patient play style. You need patience, I think. You need to be protected, relatively speaking. And you just need to bide your time. All right, can't do that. Here we go, pop that. Can't do that. And I will totally admit that the Colosseum makes tall quite a bit more viable. But also the bonus cards, which haven't even come into play. I'm getting machinery now. So I'll be nearing crossbows soon. And by crossbows, I mean the free crossbow, yeah. I'm spotting that iron situation. See? Bringing it all together. One beautiful empire. A happy little peninsula. I suppose it doesn't really... Oh, and there it is. There's me identifying the mistake I made. Oh, the Gulf of Tunis. I'm so bummed. So disappointed with myself. And remember, I had actually revealed that spot a few turns ago with the ship that I had up there, but I undid it to move him and make him do something else. The curse of undo when it comes back and bites you. Oh, that's a frustrating one. My new ruler is a young one. So this puts a judge on the throne. I like a judge ruler. Probably one of my favorite archetypes. A phenomenal starting archetype. There we go. There we go. Solve that problem with a scout. And now let's see the payoff. Okay. What do we got? 16 science per turn. Not the best. Not the best. Could be more. But hey, 16 science that we didn't have. More nets. So I'm taking this little fleet situation, not really a fleet, but my couple of ships. Now it's time to get off this peninsula. You figure 90 turns into the game and it's time to make a move, right? We have a swordsman and we have tribes. We have an Egypt that has not fully expanded. So we have an opening. I think we're thinking, where do we go for some networks? Elder Doctor number 2 online. Egypt is similar and erudite. Assyria is stronger. So think of that, right? I've built very little military all game, although it is probably factoring in my ships. But between my ships and my free Colosseum, Egypt is similar to me. Not my free Colosseum, my free swordsman from the Colosseum. Anchor time. Checking out how close I am to 4 laws. We're working on it. And look at that. I can do an onager in 3 turns in my capital because I have 24 training coming from my Colosseum. So even though I have 24, or was that 25? I think it was 25. 25 training from the Colosseum minus the 6 from the estate. So that's 19 training. Worth it. Love estates. Ooh, do I want a horse? I I don't think I do. My legitimacy is awful, but I love being divine. Ooh, no longer foolish, huh? There we go. No longer foolish. I am going to be honest here. I don't know why I'm going for land consolidation. This is the point. I think that's a mistake. I don't know what my options were, but I should be on the path to scholarship right now if it's available. I do have those Grove resources to work on, but I mean, that's just not worth it at this point. Plenty of income. And we purchase the Heliopolis. No builder anymore, so it's going to take a while, but that is so worth it. And this is a bold move. I decide to wade right in and start messing with these guys. I get a little overzealous here. There's the power of the Marines. Really solid. I send him over there. And then I'm out of orders. Out of orders. That's okay. Control 4 agent networks versus 4 courtiers. 4 courtiers is difficult, but I actually do find it pretty reliable. I think you get enough events that really throw them your way. So long as you sprinkle in some of the bonus cards, you can get it. But obviously, if the choice is between that and 4 networks, 4 networks is a no-brainer. Especially because I have portcullis, I have a scout. Peace. Perfect. That's just what I wanted. We're going to infiltrate Egypt next. Do I make the kill? Oh, yeah. No, that was a dummy. That was a dumb mistake. This gets interesting over here. I am... Oop. See? All right, here we go. Yeah. I don't know what I'm doing. Thinking I can get to that thing. I love the cleave. You're wild. All right. We have a zealot, judge, or tactician. Well, we're going to go with tactician. And the reason for that is now we have units worth generaling. Specifically, the swordsman. Swordsman with a tactician is brutal because anybody who attacks him is going to get countered. And right now, since I'm dealing with tribes, all the melee guys are just going to be obliterated. Okay, so the Scythians have showed up to play. Don't like that. I love doing this. I love when you can kill more than one unit with a swordsman. It is really satisfying. Oh, see, there we go. There's an undo example for you in combat. I do try to avoid that, but it does slip out from time to time. Well, actually, also no, because it's mostly a planning thing, too. As an example, rather than trying to just stare at the screen and do the math to figure out if that worker could have killed that one guy, I'm just going to move the guys and math it out that way. Assyria showing up just above us, clearing out another camp. Now it's time to find our friends in the east. We have our library. We have peace with our neighbors, but there is an issue with that. For me to win this game, I would have to attack Assyria, and I would very likely have to attack Egypt. And that means I will lose the peace with them and thus lose the benefits of the royal library. So my expedition to the east with my ship is going to be with the goal in mind of finding the other players in this game and doing the same thing, forming peace with them and getting their science. Okay, so also, the video will be ending soon. The thing that I used to record these only records in 2-hour blocks for whatever reason. So I'm going to be... And also, I have to watch the video to do this voiceover. And I might not do this the next time, but it's been interesting. I definitely think it allowed me to play like normal. So I'll wrap this up. We're doing metaphysics instead of labor force because what I'm going to do here after I get metaphysics is I'm going to spam it out of the capital. All 4 archive ranks are just going to fire through the capital real quick and give me a quick super boost of science. But yeah, so I'm going to end it here. And hopefully we'll do part 2 if there's interest. Or maybe if they're not, I'll probably just, go until this game ends. And we can, see how things play out. I didn't realize that the software stops recording. So there's a bit of an odd hiccup, but I'll deal with that when I edit the game. The video. Assyria has taken that site. We have tons of tribal units in this area. The ships are actually coming in pretty handy. Because that marine promotion, man, it's so good. I don't always get it. It seems like a rare one to grab, but when you do, it's just so good. All right, this is going to be the end of the video. Thank you for watching, and tune in for part 2 coming up.